The summit between President Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un came to an abrupt end in Hanoi, Vietnam. This after talks broke down, marking a major setback in diplomacy between the two countries. My next guest, however, is optimistic about the long-term investment opportunities in North Korea. I'm pleased to say that I'm joined by legendary investor and chairman of Roger Holdings, Jim Rogers from Singapore. Jim, thanks so much for sparing some of your time for us today. Let's start with North Korea, because when we spoke last June, you were pretty optimistic about the investment potential. Is that still your view? And if so, have you managed to make any headway at all?
No, I'm still very, very optimistic about a united Korea. It's illegal for Americans to invest in North Korea right now, so no, I haven't done anything. I don't want to be rich and in jail. I'd rather be poor and out of jail. So no, I haven't done anything because it's illegal. You know, I'm a citizen of the land of the free, Victoria. We're not very free, but that's what they say.
So you are a US citizen, but you've been living in Asia for over a decade right now. So are you still bullish on China, and what's catching your eye out there in terms of trades or investments?
Well, China is going to be the most important country in the 21st century, but Victoria, there'll be plenty of setbacks. America was the most successful country in the 20th century, but along the way we had 15 depressions with a D. We had a horrible civil war, had very little rule of law. We had massacres in the streets. You know, we were a mess. We were a huge mess, but we did well. China's going to have many, many problems, but it will be the country of the 21st century.
So you're a veteran commodities investor and the author of Hot Commodities, of course. So I wanted to get your expertise on gold, because you've said that the next bear market is likely to be the worst of our lifetime. So with that in mind, are you accumulating longs in the safe haven?
I own U.S. dollars as my safe haven. You might well say, what are you talking about? The U.S. is the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, and it is. But I haven't bought any serious gold since 2010. I own gold. I haven't sold any. But at the moment, for historic reasons, the U.S. dollar is more likely to be the safe haven. What will happen, what often happens, dollar will go up a lot, gold will go down, and I will very cleverly sell my dollars at the top and buy gold at the bottom. You see how easy it is, Victoria? I just got rich here in 30 seconds.
So let's see if we can apply that logic to the base metals complex then, because zinc has had a pretty impressive rally, up by more than 20% since the August lows. I know you like to buy when everyone else is selling and selling when everyone else is buying. So where do you stand on zinc right now? Are you bullish?
Well, I'm more bullish on commodities than I am on American stocks, for instance. So the answer is overall yes. Would I rush in and buy zinc today? No, of course not. It's up 20% since August, as you point out. But what I like to do is find the commodities that are down the most and start looking there, rather than the ones that are up the most and start looking there. So
what kind of commodities are you talking about then?
Well, agriculture, obviously, you know, sugar's down 80% from its all-time high. I mean, there's not much in life that's down 80% over the last few decades. Many agriculture commodities are still very cheap. Agriculture has been a disaster for farmers everywhere. It's going to turn. So let's look to the future now, because we're in the middle of this electric car revolution. That's creating a major shift in demand and supply in commodities for things like lithium and cobalt. So is that a kind of thematic investment that you're looking at, and how's the best way to play it if it is? Well, yes, the problem with those two that you mentioned are that there are no public market. I mean, you know, there's plenty of futures in zinc and copper. There's not futures in lithium and cobalt. So you have to either buy mines or buy the stuff itself, which is not so easy for most people, including me. I had an interest in a company which had lithium mines, but at the moment I have nothing. So another emerging commodity which has been garnering a lot of interest recently is cannabis through stocks like Canopy Growth and Kronos Group. Is that something you'd be particularly interested in, especially if it eventually becomes a tradable future? I'm extremely interested in cannabis. It's going to be it already is a huge market. It's going to get bigger and bigger. You know, something like 90% of Americans can now buy cannabis legally, all of Canadians, Colombians, you know, many people, more and more people are becoming eligible to buy cannabis. It's going to be a great investment if you find the right companies and the right prices.
So are there any companies that you've been particularly looking at or any ways to invest in this theme?
Well, I have a private company in Colombia in which I'm an investor, but I don't have any public stocks, not at the moment. I wish I did. We all wish we did.
So let's talk about cryptocurrencies because, you know, I know you're a buyer and everyone else is a seller. So given that Bitcoin and the others have fallen so far out of favor, is that a space that's getting your attention at all?
No, Victoria, they're all going to go to zero and disappear. So I'm not a player with the cryptocurrencies. I wish I had been. It's one of those things went up a lot, still is up a lot, but I have never bought or sold any of them. In my view, they're all going to zero and disappear. So you're bearish on cryptos, but I know you're bullish on the blockchain. So are you invested there, and what's the best way to get exposure to that investment? Victoria, I wish I knew. I have been looking. I mean, you know, Alibaba's in blockchain, but who cares? IBM is in blockchain, but who cares? I have not found the small or medium-sized company which is going to make a fortune in blockchain. If you know one, Victoria, please do not say it on this show. You know, send me an email later. I would love to find that or even two or three, but I have not yet. I'm looking for the investment advice from you, not the other way around. But so you're living in Singapore, but you're a US citizen. So let's get your view on your home market and what are some of the biggest risks to the US economy? Washington, D.C. Not some of the risk for the American market. The central bank, the president, the Congress, everybody. I mean, everybody in Washington has no clue. And they're going to be the ruination of all of us. They've driven interest rates to the lowest in recorded history. They don't know what they're doing, and we're all going to pay the price for it. You know, interest rates are absurdly low. They've never been this low in history. We're going to pay a serious price. So there's a couple of things you mentioned there. Firstly was the central bank side, the monetary policy side, and also then there was the political side. So which side are you talking about? Both. I mean, in the last year, the central government's debt has gone up more than in recorded history. Well, not in recorded, in history in America or any other country. Debt is skyrocketing. Donald Trump sat down and swore to us in 2016 that he was going to reduce the debt to nothing in 8 years. Well, you see what's happening. In 2 years, he sent it up more than any other president. The debt is going higher and higher. It's Congress and the executive branch. At the same time, the central bank has driven interest rates to the lowest in recorded history. They don't know what they're doing. Now they've had a terror. They got scared, and they've cut back. So now they're going to have easy money again. None of them know what they're doing. So are you steering clear of the U.S. market? I know you said that you're long U.S. dollars, but I believe you understand, or I believe that you've said in the past that you think it's going to ultimately lose its global dominance. Is that still your view? Yes. The U.S. is the largest debtor nation in the history of the world, and the debts are going higher and higher every day. What I expect to happen is, as the turmoil comes and more people buy U.S. dollars as a safe haven, it will get overpriced. It might even turn into a bubble, depending on how bad the turmoil is. I hope I'm smart enough to sell it if it becomes a bubble. So what are your thoughts on Trump's comments over the weekend saying that the dollar's overvalued? Well, it doesn't matter what I say or what Mr. Trump says. The market, in my view, is going to take the dollar higher for the reasons I said. We need a safe haven. The euro is not a safe haven anymore. Even the yen is very suspect. The Swiss franc, of course, is going to be a disaster the next time around. The British pound, I mean, there's no alternative at the moment, which just makes the dollar even more tempting to people looking for a safe haven. Does gold not get a mention in there? Well, as I said, the dollar is going to get overpriced. Often, when the dollar goes up a lot, gold goes down, and often in big market collapses, gold goes down. You go back and look, you'll see gold nearly always goes down when markets collapse. I'm going to sell my dollars at the top and buy gold at the bottom.
So very finally, what's your top investment idea right now?
Oh, gosh, let's see, maybe Russian bonds in rubles, certainly North Korea, but I cannot invest there because I'm a citizen of the land of the free. I would say probably North Korea at the moment. There are a lot of people investing there, as you probably know. I mean, the Chinese, the Russians, they're pouring in there. Unfortunately, I cannot.
So are you still invested in Russia then?
Oh, yes. I bought more Russia last week. Last week.
Jim, thank you so much for your time today.
I'm delighted, Victoria. Let's do it again sometime.
Let's do that.
Thank you.
Jim Rogers, chairman of Roger Holdings, joining us from Singapore. I'm Victoria Scholar, and thank you very much for watching IGTV. We'll see you very soon.